The second and final test of the Bangladesh tour of Sri Lanka is set to commence at the Pallekelle International Cricket Stadium on the 29th of April. After the run fest in the first test, both teams will be hoping for a better track at the same venue, preferably one that could assist the spinners later in the game. Sri Lanka will take heart from the fact that they were able to outscore the visitors and even briefly push for a result with the ball on day 5, but will also be disappointed with the lack of venom in the attack. This will be the 22nd time the teams face each other in tests, with Sri Lanka having the upper hand with 16 wins under their belt, as opposed to the Tigers' solitary victory. Sri Lankan skipper Dimuth Karunaratne was the most impressive of the host batsmen during the first test, going on to make his maiden double 100. The left-hander's powers of concentration and stamina were noteworthy, as he hardly put a foot wrong in an innings that spanned nearly 700 minutes. His partner at the top of the order, Lahiru Thirimana, continued his good form, as did Dhananjaya De Silva, whose silky stroke play was a highlight in a game that lacked any life. Oshada Fernando and Angelo Matthews will be kicking themselves for not cashing in on the batsman's paradise in Pallekelle, but will have an opportunity to redeem themselves in the second game. Both will be keen to get going, particularly with the likes of Dinesh Chandimal, Kusal Mendis and Kosa Pereira waiting in the wings. Wanindu Hasaranga will be another who will want to step up his game in the second test, with conditions likely to suit the spinners. So far, the leg spinner has not been able to translate his limited over form to test cricket, but does have the backing of coach Mickey Arthur, who believes he could be an all-format player for Sri Lanka. In terms of changes, Sri Lanka will be forced into one change in the second test, with Lahiru Kumara picking up a hamstring injury. It is highly likely that Lakshan Sandakan will slot into Kumara's spot, with Sri Lanka playing two quicks in Suranga Lakmal and Vishwa Fernando. Sri Lanka probable 11: Dimuth Karunaratne, Lahiru Thirimana, Oshada Fernando, Angelo Matthews, Dhananjaya De Silva, Pathum Nissanka, Niroshan Dikwella, Wanindu Hasaranga, Suranga Lakmal, Lakshan Sandakan, Vishwa Fernando. Bangladesh would also be satisfied with their performance in the first test, particularly as they managed to break a few records on the way to their first innings total of 541. Though not the highest scorer in the Tigers' mammoth first innings, Tamim Iqbal will be the key wicket for the hosts, as the experienced left-hander managed to wrestle the momentum towards Bangladesh in both innings, just as Sri Lanka began to exert some pressure on the Tigers. Najmal Hossain Shanto and Mominul Haq were as impressive as ever, but it remains to be seen how Saif Hassan will go after making 0 and 1 in the first test. In the bowling department, Bangladesh's ploy of playing 5 specialist bowlers was certainly attacking, but didn't produce the results they would have wanted. Taskin Ahmed was impressive on his comeback, while Mehdi Hassan and Taijul Islam did what they could on the track that offered very little to the bowlers. It would be interesting to see if Bangladesh continue with their 6 batsmen 5 bowlers formula or look to add an extra batsman for the second test. Bangladesh probable 11: Tamim Iqbal, Saif Hassan, Najmul Hossain Shanto, Mominul Haq, Mushfiqur Rahim, Liton Das, Mehdi Hassan, Taijul Islam, Taskin Ahmed, Ebadot Hossain, Abu Jaid. After the disaster that was the first test, it's likely that the pitch curators will go for a more characteristic Sri Lankan pitch that would offer some assistance to the spinners as the game progresses. The weather looks to be similar to what we experienced in the first game, so expect a few interruptions during the 5 days of play. For premium content and exclusive member benefits, subscribe to thepapare.com today.